up, YouTube? This is your boy Alex. Today is, I think, Thursday. It's the 29th. So you probably won't get another video until like either Sunday or Monday because it's pretty much time for a haircut. They're supposed to be opening up the hair salons and the barber shops. That's a good thing. So I can look much better on camera because I'm not going to lie to you, I do look like shit. You know, I'm not going to sit here and act like most YouTubers. When your hair is fucked up, your hair is fucked up, okay? That's just how life goes. Now, the next time I do YouTube videos, when I get to episodes 3 and 4, my hair will be all looking nice and fixed up the way it's supposed to be. So, yeah, because, you know, some people look at your videos and sometimes they be looking like, you know, your hair is fucked up, right? You know, you should be brushing it or getting it cut, right? But people understand the nature of the situation. Next week, the barber shops and the hair salons open up, so that's a good thing. But that's not why you're watching my YouTube video. You want me to bring some more of that badass YouTube content. And I'm giving you some content that you're going to really love. You're going to love this video more than you like the other one. Trust me, you're going to love the title of the video and you're going to love what I got to do in this video. Today's YouTube video is called Sex Game, the top 15 black greatest action stars of all times of the 1980s throughout now. Let me repeat, the title of the video is called Sex Game. Yes, I have a script. It's called Sex Game, Top 15 Black Greatest Action Stars of All Times, from the 80s to now. We're talking about some of the best African-American action stars in movies. Now, keep in mind, when we get to the fourth, I might extend it to 5 videos, because I have another category for television. And I will get to the television side, but this is for film. And some of your favorites are on this list. Some of y'all might like the names on this list. Some of y'all might have an issue with the names on this list. And ladies, black women, I ain't forgot y'all. White women, sexy mamacita Latinas, I have not forgot about y'all. When I'm done helping out the brothers, the fellas, I will get to the sisters, the mamacitas, and the white girls. In the next video, we're going to talk about the greatest action female movie stars that do action-packed movies. This is for black men, okay? So if you're a black woman, you can watch this video. And then I have to turn around and do one for the Latino men. Because, you know, the Latino men, they're going to walk up on me in the street and say, hey, man, you did one for the black men. What about the Latinos? Relax. I got one for the Latino men, Latino women. I'm going to have one with the black women and the white women. So relax. I got to do the black men because you know how black men be like, man, there's some brothers in those movies too now, so I got to get to the brothers, okay? One badass video at a time. You give me 2 or 3 days of rest, I give you the best damn content the world money can buy. All right, coming in at number 15, Michael J. White. Now, Michael J. White is a well-accomplished man. The guy went from doing small roles in movies and television shows as a backstage extra to a breakout superstar overnight. Usually it takes you 10 years in your career to do this, but he did a movie called Tyson. Like, when Mike Tyson was big in professional boxing, nobody wanted to play Mike Tyson. And Michael J. White said, I'll do it. This guy was in the Ninja Turtle movies. A lot of people don't realize Michael J. White was in Ninja Turtles 2 as one of the foot ninjas. It went unnoticed, but he was in Ninja Turtles 2. And he did this movie called Toxic 2, Toxic Avengers 3. Those were some low-budget movies. But it was a movie called Tyson that launched his acting career and took it to places where it had never gone before. He popped up on television shows. He would pop up on Martin's television show, Martin's show, Jamie Foxx show. He would pop up on all the shows in the 1990s. Sister, he would pop up on those shows. And then he got the movie that really got him to where he is. He did a movie called Spawn. Yeah, the special effects was terrible. It wasn't exactly what you were looking for, but at that time, the comic book industry was dying. Nobody was looking at superhero movies. If you were a fan of superhero movies, you got laughed and made fun of. And at that time, they went to 2 black men to help them out with this situation. They told Michael J. White, let's do Spawn. They called Wesley, and Wesley had his pick, Spawn or Blade. Wesley went with Blade, Michael J. White went with Spawn, and both those movies came out a year apart from each other. Spawn was filmed in 96, released in 1997. Blade was done in 97, released in 98. And Michael J. White was actually the first black guy to actually do a superhero movie and say it's okay if I'm a black guy and I'm doing a superhero movie. So you got to show people like Wesley Snipes and Michael J. White a lot of respect, a lot of credit, because Michael J. White did martial arts. He's an 8th degree black belt in 10 styles of martial arts. Okay, this guy is an All-American. He played basketball, football, baseball in high school and college. He took acting classes. He did martial arts. He did the movies as an extra, and then he does a movie called Tyson. And then you fast forward later, he pops up. He pops up in The Dark Knight. He gets into television. He pops up in a show called Arrow as Bronze Tiger. And he doesn't just pop up on that show. He pops up on that show like 4 times. Like 4 out of the 8 seasons, he shows up on that television show. So he was on Arrow. And he also was in a movie called Universal Soldier, The Return, with Bill Goldberg and, of course, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah, so he showed that he could play off of big-name actors. He was in, he did a movie with, other people. Then he does Blood and Bone. He pops up in some of Tyler Perry's movies. He does the Tyler Perry television show. And then he does a cartoon called Black Dynamite. But before you got the cartoon of Black Dynamite, he actually did the movie called Black Dynamite, that if you look in the 1970s, they had a guy by the name of Willie Dynamite, and he actually grew up watching those movies, The Mac, Superfly. He grew up watching those movies, and then you fast forward some 20 years later, he makes a movie of Willie Dynamite, then turns around and makes 3 seasons of the animated cartoon series of Black Dynamite. So the guy does movies, television, producing, directing, writing, hooks up with Tyler Perry, turns around, does voiceover. The guy is a triple threat. And if you had to talk about the guys who helped usher a new era of superhero movies, see, nobody wanted to touch these movies. Nobody wanted to do Captain America or Iron Man or Thor in the 1990s. Nobody wanted to do Blade. Nobody wanted to do Spawn. And if it weren't for Michael J. White doing Spawn, you probably would have never seen people like Michael B. Jordan pop up in these movies. You would never see Boseman come in and play the Black Panther. So you got to think about what Michael J. White did. He opened the door for African Americans to do these superhero movies and be accepted by mainstream America. And back then it wasn't. Today it is. Coming in at number 14, my man Morris Chestnut. Now, black women just love them some Morris Chestnut. I can see why. The man's tall. The guy's got physicality. The guy goes to the gym and work out. And the guy can kick ass. I mean, this guy does a bunch of action-packed movies. And I followed his whole career. From the time he did a movie called Boys in the Hood. He was in Higher Learning. 2 movies directed by John Singleton, God rest his soul, rest in peace. To doing 2 movies with Steven Seagal. To doing all these movies. So he is a legit action star. Because the vast majority of movies he's done, they're action thrillers, they're suspense thrillers, they're action-packed movies. He's been in these movies, and he don't just play supporting characters. No. There are times where Morris Chestnut's characters are written to be the guy to save the day. Like, he is who you would expect to pop up and do a movie. Like when he did that movie with Halle Berry and Dave Atunga. Yeah, he's a professional wrestler. When he did that movie, that's a prime example that at his age, his late 30s, well, actually I would say early 40s, mid 50s, the guy still has it. Like, whatever the role requires, he becomes that character. They need him to be a police officer, an FBI agent, a criminal, a bad guy, a good guy, a bad guy turned good, a good guy turned bad. He can play all those characters. And what makes him talented is he can do multiple genres. The guy's done movies, television, theater, Broadway acting. The guy can do genres. And he's a sex symbol because black women just love them some Morris Chestnut. And anytime this guy has a movie trailer, if you look at the 90s, the 2000s, women will scream your head off. They'll damage your damn ears. When he popped up and did the trailer for Two Can Play That Game, women was just going, oh my God, it's my baby daddy Morris Chestnut. Women love Morris Chestnut, and brothers be like, I can't stand this guy. I go to work, I hear Morris Chestnut. I go to the gym, I hear Morris Chestnut. I like Morris Chestnut because the guy is great on camera. Any character you want him to play. Like The Best Man and The Best Man Holiday, they're not action-packed movies, but you can tell when they wrote the script, they made sure some action and excitement came when he plays those characters. And to see him come in, and it's been 2.5 decades, and had he been 10 years younger, I think nobody would have a problem with him being Black Panther. I mean, that's the one thing I think he's been robbed of, is the opportunity to show us, could he play a badass superhero character? I mean, if he couldn't be Black Panther, he could have been Luke Cage. That went to someone else. I mean, why is it kept closed? That's who it went to, and I'm just basically trying to explain to you, that's how it went for this man. So, yeah, Morris Chestnut's the man. Two Can Play That Game. He been in both the movies. He was in the sequel. I mean, the guy is a sex symbol. Black women love him. Like, if you was going to be a black man to get all the women's attention, that's who I would probably be, as Morris Chestnut. I mean, the guy's tall, 6'2", 6'3", 230 pounds. He makes having the bald head look good, and women just seem to like his style of acting. No matter where he goes, he gets the most respect, the most attention, and if it's an action-packed movie, whether it's high budget, medium budget, you can rest assured he's going to be in there kicking ass and taking names. He is a legit action star. You got people who do it on an occasion. He does it for real. The martial arts. When he did a movie with that actress, Demi Moore, in a movie called G.I. Jane, he really transformed his body to get into supreme shape. I was like, that's Morris Chestnut? Like, damn. And then when he does the movies with Steven Seagal, it makes it easy because he had did one movie with Steven Seagal, then he did 2 movies with Steven Seagal. So when you say action stars, he can kill with the best of them. The perfect guy, oh, I wish his character could have stayed around for the fight. I mean, to fight Michael Ealy, it would have been badass had they just wrote in the script for him to just stay alive a lot longer in that movie. The guy can draw. I mean, people forget he can draw. I mean, they say The Rock can draw, but Morris Chestnut can draw. All right, coming in at number 13, 13, and please don't make fun of me. I'm going to butcher his last name, but he is going to be tied with another actor. It's going to be Daniel Kaluuya, and that's the guy who played in the movie called Get Out. That was like his actual movie directorial debut for Universal Pictures. He did a movie called Get Out. Now that was a suspense slash thriller, if you can call it a horror slash thriller. That made his movie career. That solidified his movie career. And the reason why I say it solidified his movie career is because that movie was #1 at the box office for 4 straight weeks. Rotten Tomatoes said Get Out was 100%, and he was one of the main reasons why that movie was so good and so successful. I mean, the idea that you got to be strapped to a chair, someone's going to take your memory, become you, and you got to fight for your survival, and then the fact that they put so much action in it, and the way they written this character to have some acknowledgement of martial arts was badass. And the fact that it was the main character and you knew he was going to have to fight out of that, it was like you were expecting an intense physical fighting scene, and it takes almost the whole movie for it to come. And as good as that movie was, I'm sure that if you want it, you could actually make that into a sequel. You probably can get 2 or 3 movies. So you probably could make that into a franchise. People say that should have been his franchise. And eventually became a part of a franchise. He comes back again, and we see him in the Black Panther. This time he's put on muscle. You're like, oh shit, is that the dude from Get Out? Or is that another dude? Like, and then when you check out his bio, it's like, oh fuck, it's the same person. It's like, oh shit. And he also popped up in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. So his career is just going to get better and better and better as time goes on. He's also tied with a guy by the name of Michael Colter. Now, Michael Colter was a guy who really struggled in the very beginning of his acting career. Not too many people knew who he was in the late 1990s, early 2000s. But he popped up on a television show called The Wire. You know, he was on there. Dominic West was on there. He was the crooked police / crooked DA that would frame all of them. Before you had a TV show called Power, you had the fucking Wire. I mean, when 50 Cent did that rap song, I get money, money. Before the lyrics, before you got words to the damn lyrics of the song, it was just the beat. Michael Colter was on there, Elba, Michael B. Jordan was on there. All these cats was on that show, and each one that was on that show, you know, Wayne Brady, he was a singer. He was on that damn show too. All of them were like Power before Power even came. And 50 Cent saw The Wire and said, I rather might as well make me another show like it. Some people say Power is actually a spinoff to The Wire, but like I said, wait until I get to the end of the season finale of the series. I'm going to call it the best television shows, so relax. Michael Colter did a character called Luke Cage, and that just blew his career up. I mean, he was already doing movies and television shows, but he wasn't a superstar. He wasn't a big action star. He wasn't even a star at all. And then he does Luke Cage, and then he blows the fuck up. Do you realize that when Luke Cage came out, the first season, everybody watched that season? The guy put on 30 pounds of muscle. The guy looked swole. He looked intimidating. I'm like, oh shit, is that Michael Colter? Not the dude that was on The Wire. And it made me go get Netflix. Like if you think about it, the one thing that made me watch Netflix much more was Luke Cage. The second season, better than the first season. It's a tragedy that the character didn't really get a season 3. He was good in Jessica Jones. You know, that intense sexual scene. And then there was The Defenders. And I don't know what Marvel has plans on. Maybe the Luke Cage movie comes down in the near future, if he's still interested. But it blew his career up. Because the guy started getting into the black romantic comedy movies. The guy started getting into action thrillers. He almost got nominated for an Academy Award 2 years ago. His career is just getting better. So the guy from Get Out and Michael Colter, both of them are in the same situation. Both were struggling actors. And then they do a movie or a television franchise. And then their career just gets better and better and better. And basically, you gotta have him on the list. So basically, we're probably gonna change the title of the video and add in 16 and say 16 of the greatest black action stars of all time. So instead of 15, we're gonna just add in and say it's 16. Alright, coming in at number 12 is Tony Todd. Some of y'all never seen what he looked like, but you have heard his voice and countless of television shows. I'll give you a television show that you know all too well, that he played a supervillain, and you'll know it. The more you feed him speed, the more I take. Make the Flash faster. He played Zoom in season 2 of The Flash. Yeah, you had the actor play Zoom, but the voice was intimidating. The voice was empowering. The voice was alpha. Tony Todd has been in the Hollywood game for almost 4 decades. The guy can do any genre. He can do science fiction, horror, action, comedy, horror comedy, westerns. You name the genre, the guy can do it. The guy started off as a Broadway actor, graduated from high school and college, got a degree in the social bachelor's of arts of science. The guy pops up in Hollywood. The guy does a couple of medium budget movies, and it's not until like 10 years into his acting career he pops up on a movie called Child's Play. Oh, yeah, he was in the first Child's Play. You probably don't remember because that movie's like 30 years old, but those that were born in the 1980s and 90s, y'all know what I'm talking about. He was in Child's Play, the very first Chucky movie. And then he pops up in a movie called Candyman. Candyman 2, Candyman 3. And then you still don't know who he is, and then he does a movie called Final Destination, based on a true story. I'm not making the shit up. It's about an airplane that goes in the sky, and I don't want to ruin the movie if you have never seen it. He ended up being in those movies, so he headlines a franchise. The fact that they just use his voice and it's so powerful on screen, like he tells the kids the consequences of your actions. So he's in Final Destination 2, Final Destination 3. So he's in 3 movies. Then you don't see him in Final Destination 4, but right when they end the franchise, right when they get to like 5 or 6, he pops up at the end of the final movie just to have that smile. So he's been a part of that franchise. Then he shows up on a television show called The Flash Season 2. And when they brought him back for Season 5, I was so happy. The fact that he had that, and I like the way he made Zoom come to life. Like, he made the character more intimidating, more badass. The way he was going to come at the Flash. Who ruled this world? Zoom! It's like, oh shit, he's a badass villain. The guy can do it, and he's coming back in another Candyman. They made a 4th movie of Candyman. Yeah, it'll probably come out next summer, but there's Candyman 4. And Tony Todd's been around for almost 4 decades. And it would be a shame, a tragedy, not to have him on this list. Think about it. Tony Todd is kind of like a second coming of Darth Vader. Because James Earl Ray Jones was the voice of Darth Vader. Tony Todd got motivation and inspiration to become the voice of Zoom if you watch the television show of Zoom. That's why Zoom is such an intimidating supervillain, because the voice is powerful. It's dominant. It makes you afraid to even want to fight someone like that. Just imagine if somebody had powers like Zoom and they had that type of voice. Yeah, so that's why he's on this list. He has a body, a resume, and the guy ain't slowed down a bit. The guy has been in a bunch of movies. He's been in westerns, horror movies, television shows. The guy's even narrated documentaries, which is shocking. Alright, coming in at number 11 is Tyrese Gibson. Tyrese Gibson is a guy I call him the Renaissance man, because he does a little bit of everything. He did modeling first. For about 6 years, he was a model for Kevin Kline, okay? Tommy Hilfiger, he was a model. And then he decided to do singing. And you've seen him in that song with Usher, My Way. And then he got his own album. Now it's almost 20 years later. He's done like 7 to 8 albums. He leaves modeling. He goes and does hip-hop, R&B, rap. And then John Singleton says, I need you to do this character called Jody from Baby Boy. And the story to that is he turned the movie down 3 times because he didn't think he was he didn't think he was going to be a good actor. And it took a lot of convincing. You know, they had to call Will Smith and sit him down and say, look, man, you got a bigger opportunity than what you got. And Tyrese did it, and Baby Boy became one of the biggest movies of his career. It opened the door to show his acting range. Then he does Wall Deep. Then he gets part of a franchise, Transformers. Got to be in the Transformers movies. That elevated his career. And then it took him to a place that he thought he would never get to. Fast and Furious. So he get to be a part of 2 different franchises. And now with him being in the movie of Morbius, this is a chance for him to get into the driver's seat and play off of Jay Leno, the actor who was once the Joker for Suicide Squad and Morbius. This is a chance for him to show his full acting range. See, movies like Transformers, Fast and Furious, he usually cracks these these wisecracks jokes. He's sometimes the jackass, he's sometimes the badass, but this is a chance for Tyrese to really display his craft and say, I can be a big draw. And this movie, Morbius, is going to show, can he be in a big budget movie by himself and actually draw without anyone being there? Because when you saw him in the second Fast and Furious, he was drawing, but he wasn't the main character. In Transformers, he was able to draw in those movies, but he was not the main character in those Transformer films. And I think if you make Tyrese, if you were to do another superhero character, you could have Tyrese Gibson come in and play one of those characters from the comic book and make it stand out on his own. Like you could literally put him on a future season of Black Lightning, and it probably will work because why? You've got him on there. I'm just saying what his career could lead to. There's talks of him being Green Lantern. I don't know if they'll do it. But if he's in a Marvel movie, it's even better because he's getting his chance to show his full range. Coming in at number 10 is Taimak. Nobody knows who this guy is. All you have to do is type up a movie called The Last Dragon. Now, this was before I was born because The Last Dragon movie was made between 1975 and 1978. And it wasn't until 1988 that I saw a movie called The Last Dragon. Taimak embodied the movie. I mean, they took the idea of Bruce Lee and created Bruce Leewoyd, and, the fact that you can have the magic power called the glow and you glow. That was a badass movie. And he's a legend because he's an 8th degree black belt in martial arts, and that's how he got to where he is. So basically, that's how Taimak got to where he is. Number 9 is Carlos Weather. You should know who Carlos Weather is. He played professional football 25 years ago with the Oakland Raiders for 3 years. Then he played with some suspension team that wasn't a part of the NFL. So he played like football for like 7 or 8 years. And then he retired, and then he found himself acting in small little movie roles, television roles. And he kind of became the guy in the 80s that you would expect doing action-packed movies. He showed up in a movie called Rocky as Apollo Creed, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4. Then he powers up with Arnold Schwarzenegger in a movie called The Predator. Then he gets his own movie franchise that was a comic book, a video game, a cartoon called L.Jacson. Why do you think we call the title of the video Sex Game the top 16? It was 15, now 16 greatest action stars of all times. His name, L.Jacson, was a movie franchise. You had Sharon Stone in there. You had Bill Duke in the movie. He was the main character. It was a movie franchise. The movie should have gotten a sequel. The movie could have gotten a sequel. If Beverly Hills Cop could have got sequels, L.Jacson was supposed to be in the same level. You were supposed to get an L.Jacson 2, an L.Jacson 3, and have him fight different villains in the city of Detroit. So he was a superhero that you got from that era. You look at his career today, and the guy is in his 70s. An impressive-ass resume. And what do you get him? In The Mandarin. So he's going to be in The Mandarin Season 1 and Season 2. He still has the acting chops. He still can look appealing and look good doing it. Coming in at number 8 is Bill Duke, who's tied with Lawrence Fishburne. Now, Bill Duke is one of these actors that I've told you before that the guy has been with all the big names in Hollywood. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Kurt Russell. You name any of the big stars, he's done movies with them. Okay? And then he went as far as to produce, write, and direct a movie called Deep Cover, which kind of propelled Lawrence Fishburne's career to where it is today. They never had a black actor turn into a director and direct a big budget movie. That movie was huge. Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and then the director's black, the main character's black, the main theme song to the movie soundtrack is featuring black artists. It was unheard of at the time. That's why Bill Duke's on the list. Makes a documentary 25 years later called Color Girls. Yeah. Lawrence Fishburne, the Matrix movies, John Wick, Ride Along, does a television show called CSI. Lawrence Fishburne going strong. And before he did all those movies, he was once on a television show called the Pee-wee Herman Adventures. A lot of people don't remember that, but that's how he really got his career started. And like he said, he lied about his age, and that's how he got his start in Hollywood. Coming in at number 7 is Billy Blanks. It's actually embarrassing that nobody knows who Billy Blanks was. Before we got Michael B. Jordan, Wesley Snipes, Michael J. White, before we got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, once upon a time there was a guy named Billy Blanks. He was the only guy in the late 70s, early 80s doing martial arts. And he also did some movies and television shows. And if Chuck Norris created his own martial arts fighting style, Billy Blanks created his own fighting style. Call it Taibo. And my mother, when she was alive, back when my mom was like 28, 29, my mom met my man Billy Blanks. And Billy Blanks' career, I would say in the 80s, he was really good. In the 90s, he started to retire from acting. He wasn't getting too many roles. He didn't like the politics that was taking place, which is understandable. So that's why he's at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is Wesley Snipes, tied with Doncheaie. Now, Wesley Snipes did movies like Drop Zone, Passenger 57, Demolition Man, but it was Blade that propelled him to greater heights. Like I said in the beginning of the video, Michael J. White, well, Wesley Snipes deserves a lot of respect and credit. If it weren't for the movies Spawn and Blade, you would have not got Iron Man. You would have never got Captain America, Thor, the Avengers, and all these new movies that we got today in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. At that time, nobody wanted to play Blade. And Wesley said, I'll do it. And it's made his career. And when people think of Blade, they think of Wesley Snipes. Doncheaie's on this list because he played War Machine. And when you think of Doncheaie, you think of War Machine. Think about it. If Wesley Snipes didn't, have the, issues that he had, he probably could have played both Marvel characters, to tell you the truth. Coming in at number 5 is my man Will Smith. Will Smith is a draw, okay? Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys 3, gonna have a Bad Boys 4, Wild Wild West, Men in Black, I, Robot, I'm Legend. Those are some badass Will Smith movies. And to come in at his age,